Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nath.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Hello. Welcome back to the Don Pod for a very special midweek episode. A new segment for us, a fan spotlight. I am joined by Jade Hockey, who I'm sure everyone knows. If you're on Twitter, if you're around the football club, you will have seen Jade. Hello, Jade. Welcome to you.
G'day, how are you?
I'm good. How are you going?
I'm good, very good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for fitting us in. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
We were just chatting a bit off camera, and I think I'm as nervous as you are to do this. You're probably more comfortable, in fact, with this. But
yes, I am. Yeah.
just wanted to sort of, I think, have a chat to some fans and people who listen to our podcast and make it is what it is. So This won't be a long thing by any stretch. Just a couple of questions and about your life as an Essendon supporter, because I don't know about anyone else. I find that shit interesting.
Absolutely.
So just to start off with, I guess, what's your Essendon story? How did you start going for Essendon? Is there a family link? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, there is a family link. So I became an Essendon supporter because of my dad. So obviously, because I grew up in the 90s, I was born in 1990. Probably wasn't the right year to be born, obviously, when we lost against Collingwood in the grand final. But I was, like, obviously, growing up, you had to pick between your parents. So it was either Essendon from dad or Western Bulldogs from mum. So I had the choice of two good teams, but I just fell in love with Essendon. I love the colours and obviously learning about the club later on in life. I love the players and the culture and everything about it. And I was like, yep. That's definitely my team, and I will support them for the rest of my life.
Very nice. So never had another childhood club, always Essendon?
No, always Essendon, always.
I'm jealous. I was a Sydney supporter to start with and changed when I was about 5, I think, and it haunts me to this day.
Yeah, it would indeed.
How did you become involved with the club? You know, people like me, I go to games, I go to the best and fairest every so often. You're at training, you're at, like I've just said to you, every event that I've ever gone to, just about, I think I've seen you there. So how did you become sort of that involved with the club?
I became more involved like later in life, like, you know, late in my late 20s, like once they started the hangar in 2013, that's when I became a bit more involved and, you know, went to training as very often as possible. And then later on from 2017, was the first year that I went to the best and fairest, or it might have been 2018, one of them. And I went to best. I've been to best and fairest now ever since, and I love it. It's one of my favourite nights of the year. And yeah, with training, I just love going to training and seeing the boys, what they work on and stuff like that. And then, of course, games, obviously, later on, I didn't become a member until 2012. I started off with a 3-game membership, and then from 2013, I became a full member. And I've been going to games ever since. But since 2018, I've been travelling as well for the boys, so going to interstate games. So with last year, I went to every single game, including every interstate game as well. I enjoyed it. It was tiring, but I enjoyed it. And then also this year as well, I'm doing the same thing again, but at least with all the interstate games all gapped out monthly, so I have time to, you know, book everything. So I love it.
Great. That's really cool.
Yes.
Favourite stadium outside Victoria?
I love Perth. Like, I love Optus Stadium.
Yep.
I didn't mind it how it was beforehand. How now, like, it has changed a lot, obviously. Like, the barriers, like, is really high up. But besides that, though, nothing wrong with it. It's a really nice stadium, but I love travelling to Perth. It's my favourite place to travel to.
Yeah, nice. I've never been to Perth.
Oh, it's beautiful. I do recommend to
it
go there.
Look nice. It's just really far away.
It is like it's a long flight to there and back, obviously, but I'm so used to it now because, like I said, I've been there since 2018, so I'm used to it. Yeah. But I really enjoy it. It's my favourite place. Obviously, you got to go there twice this year, but that's all right. Doesn't bother me.
That's all right.
The Perth fans will be very happy with that. So
yeah, very good. I'm going to ask you. This is sort of a multi-faceted question. I want to know your favourite player, but I want to talk all time, and I also want to talk current. So we'll start with the men's team because I will ask for the women's as well.
Yes. So all-time favourite player was Matthew Lloyd. Like, I absolutely fell in love with him as a kid, and, you know, I loved watching him play. He was really exciting. And then I also loved watching Dustin Fletcher, James Hird, Michael Long, Gavin Wanganeen. Huge list that there was through the 90s and 2000s as well. So that was really fun to watch them play over the years. And then and also Michael Hurley as well, but a bit different as to why I love him because he's my cousin.
Oh, right. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so it was really good to watch him have a really great career, and I'm really glad that he's still at the club coaching, so I'm very happy to see that. And then also Curran as well with our men's team. I love Nate Caddy.
Yeah.
I've loved him ever since we picked him up last year, and, he's just going to keep building and building for years to come, and I'm now, my new probably obsession now is Isaac Kako. I've been absolutely obsessed with this kid ever since we picked him up. Yep. Ever since I've seen him, because I went to both practice games this year, and he was just really exciting. And then to be there the other week, watching him against Hawthorn when he kicked the first goal, and I was just jumping out of my seat, cheering and everything, because I was so proud of him because he's worked really hard to get this far. So he's also another exciting player. But it's really great to see Nate and Isaac playing together, because I know they are best friends, and they're going to be the next dynamic duo than we had ever since we've had Matthew Lloyd and Scott Lucas. So they're our future, really, and I'm really loving watching them play. And then with our women's side, I love our women's side. I've been a very big fan of them as well, and I love Bonnie Too Good, Maddie Pasparkas, and also Sophie Alexander. So they're my favourite 3 players out of the girls. But I love our girls as well. I'm really proud that we have a team with our girls' side, so it's been really exciting to watch them.
Very good. It is exciting. I've got a daughter, and I'm a footy nut, so it's quite exciting that I can have a, she could play for Essendon one day. She could.
Exactly. You never know. She could.
Really very cool. We, Nathan and I, under the name the Don Pod, sponsor Caddy. So we were going to get in his ear and try and get him on, but we're very anti-player.
I'll ask him. He knows me pretty well. A lot of the boys know me by name by now, so
I'm not surprised.
I'll be like, no, do you mind?
I'm nervous for this. I don't know how I'd go interviewing a player, but maybe one day.
It would be nerve-wracking, but you just talk to them like they're just a normal person. Just talk to them like they're a friend, and it's just simple. Exactly.
They are humans, that's right.
Yes.
Best and fairest, I find I need a few beers before I can really go up and ask for photos.
Best and fairest is actually pretty funny when you have to talk to the players, because they're happy as Larry, cheery, and then as soon as they've had a couple of drinks in them, they're just all
the ties.
Very happy and very very silly and all that. So, it's fun at best and fairest night.
It is a good night.
It is.
This is probably a bit broader, but do you have any favourite memories, whether that's at a game or just generally to do with the club?
There's so many memories really to think of. I think probably one of my favourites is 2015 when we won against Hawthorn. And the day before that, the boys had a open training session and I went to it. And I was watching the team train, no worries, and all of a sudden I saw defenders were practicing their goal kicking. And I'm like, this is interesting. I don't see defenders practicing their goal kicking very often. And Kale Hooker was one of them. And I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, so you basically practice this so then you can kick the winning goal the next day? Okay.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
No worries, interesting. So it was basically all planned out from the looks of it. And I'm like, okay, yep, perfect. Well done. Good job.
I do miss that about Herd's coaching, that just throw the defender forward and hope for the best. And
exactly.
I mean, Hooker became pretty handy forward, I suppose.
He did.
But
he did,
that memory. I was at that game and I blacked
so was
out just about. I don't remember celebrating it. It's a blur.
I do. It was really good because they also had the 84 and 85 Premiership Cups there outside the MCG, and then they had some of the Premiership players from those eras as well there. So it was really good to get photos with some of them there because I'm meeting them and I'm like, oh my God, these are players that my dad watched growing up as a kid. So for me to meet them myself, I was very honoured.
Really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great game of footy.
It was.
We started 2015, I think, playing the 2 grand finalists from the previous
Pretty
year.
much.
And we'd got pipped by Sydney the week before.
Yes.
Oh, memories. That's 10
That was
years
an
ago.
interesting game, that one, because I really thought we were going to get smashed.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden we were just close and I was like, oh, it's a possibility here. You never know. But at the same time, I was still proud. I was like, it was a pretty good effort, especially in Sydney. So I was very impressed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Do you have any cool, fun stories about meeting players or coaches, staff?
I do, yes. Probably one of my favourite stories, I have spoken about the story before, but it's pretty funny talking about it. So in 2022, I went to Perth and there's an organisation called the WA Bombers. So they're the organisation that are for Perth fans and that, and they had a function with some of the past players. And I met Gary O'Donnell, who I know on Twitter as well. And I was just hanging out with my friends and all that at the event. And he's come up to me. He's like, "Are you Jade?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I follow you on Twitter. I love all your posts that you put for birthday wishes and all that. The players really love them, and they love what you post and all that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks, mate. No worries." And then later on in the night, like after he had a couple of bevies and all that, and he's just come up to me randomly. He's like, "Oh, did you guys know Jade? She's awesome, blah, 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 and all this." And I'm like, "Oh, I love you. You're blind. I love you though." Like, he was just so funny. Like, because they were all funny, because there was a lot of past and present players at that event as well, which was really good to see. So David Myers was there, Patrick Ambrose, Cale Hooker, Nick Comer, Kevin Sheedy was as well, Simon Madden. So it was a really good event to go to. I really did love it. I really enjoyed it. So it was really funny. And then Gary also signed my autograph book, and he wrote, "To Jade, you are a gun," from Gary O'Donnell and Go Bombers, which I still have to this day. So it was pretty funny having that. So no, to know someone like that who, again, a 1993 premiership player, baby bomber, someone that my dad also watched growing up. And for him to know me is a huge honour, because I even have, like, my dad has the old school puzzle that they made with Gary in it and a couple of the other players. I think it's from 95 or 96, and my dad's got it in a frame. And every time Gary comes down to Melbourne, Dad's like, "Tell me when it's at the club. I'll drive down. I'll come home. I'll get the frame and I'll come down and get him to sign it." I said, "Dad, I can't help it when I see him, because I never know when I'm going to see him."
You're going to bump into him.
Exactly.
It is a real.
He does come down to Melbourne occasionally, which is good to games. So because his niece plays for the for Hawthorn's AFLW side, so I know that he came to see her first game last year, which was really good. So yeah, it's just really great for players of any generation really to know who I am. It's a really big honour.
I was going to say that it's a real, like, turnaround of roles almost.
It is.
You're getting recognised by a past player. That's my dream, by the way.
Yeah.
If any Essendon player listens to our podcast, to go, "Hey, I know you. I would die a happy man." I'm going to go off script a little bit here. Yeah. This week we play Adelaide, and who are flying, coming off a very, very comfortable win against St Kilda. Yes. Playing the MCG, which throws in a little curveball we haven't seen probably since pre-2000. Yes. What do you think? How are we going to go?
I think it will be a tough challenge. I'm going to admit that. Like, Adelaide have got a very big, tall forward line, and obviously losing Ridley to concussion means that, like, we obviously have someone else that can replace him. I think Lewis Hayes has got a good chance to come in. I think we need to go an extra tall, because, like, they've got, Fogarty and Walker and that in their forward line, so we need to go as tall as possible to help the defenders. So, but I think it's going to be a good game. Like, the benefits is that it is at the MCG. Adelaide don't play at the MCG very often. They only play there about maybe a couple of times a year if you're lucky. Yeah. So that's the benefit for us. But anything's a possibility. You just never know.
They're a pretty classy outfit, really. They've got the smalls, they've got the talls.
Yeah, they do. Correct. Yes, they do. But you just never know. You just got to have faith and just take it 1 week at a time.
That's right. And if we knew, we wouldn't be interested in it.
Well, exactly right. Exactly.
A tip, just a final tip then.
Yeah. No, I think we can, if we can get going and start off fast, we can win by a couple of goals, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, indeed.
I'll wave if I see you.
Yes.
And final question I've got here is just to talk about the women's side a little bit. I think we're guilty a little bit of lacking diversity sometimes. It's hard in such a male-dominated industry, but we touched on it briefly. But what does having the AFLW side mean for you personally?
Oh, it means a lot to me. Growing up as a female, you never know that there was ever going to be women playing footy. You never dreamt of it, like especially growing up in the 90s and 2000s. You're just like, oh yeah, you see women playing here and there in local footy with the boys and all that. But to see the AFLW in general is amazing to see. I absolutely love it. I was like, I didn't mind it when it came out, but I boycotted it a little bit because I was waiting for our side to come out, which they did. And then once we got our side to come out, I was wrapped. I was so happy. I was like, yes. I'm like, you beauty. I'm like, this is awesome. Because the first game that we had against Hawthorn, it was on my birthday. And when the fixture came out, I was jumping for joy. I was like, yes! I'm like, you beauty. Birthday gift for me. Yes.
That's the one they moved to Marvel, wasn't it?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And it was a smart choice. It really was. It really was. Like, I would love if they had, like, more games at, like, Marvel, if they could. Like, I know they can't, but it would be good because, like, it would get more numbers. Yeah. I reckon it would get more people to attend games. But I really do love now that we have our home games at Windy Hill. Like, that's our home. And, to see the girls be able to play there now for their home games is awesome. I absolutely love it.
It's pretty awesome to see the stands full as well.
It is, I love it. It's really exciting. It's really deafening as well. Like, it's just, you're basically sitting there, like, all scrunched up and everything, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
And it's such a different vibe. It's such a more family-friendly, there's a lot of kids-friendly, like,
correct.
It's just more fun. I can't explain it.
It is. No, it's a very different environment to the men's, whereas in, like, you go to the men's and you basically go there, like, to watch the footy and to have a drink and catch up with friends and all that. But when you go to the women's side, like, it's completely different. Like, it's very family-friendly orientated, and, kids are idolizing these girls as well, which is really great to see. And, like, they idolize the boys as well, but it's just a very different environment from both sides.
I think it's particularly for young girls. I think it gives such a different aspect on the game. And even for me, like, my daughter's only 5, but it was such a different appreciation.
Yeah.
When we went down last year and got soaked against Freo, but anyway.
Yeah.
That first game.
Yeah, no, it wasn't really quite great, that game, but last year I was so proud of the girls. Like, after everything they went through with injuries and everything, for them to keep going how they did, and then for them to make the finals, I didn't even expect that. I was like, look, I just want the season to just go as best as they can, and then if they make finals, it's a bonus. If they don't, then it's okay, because we've got plenty of reasons why they couldn't. But they just kept going. They kept pushing. They kept fighting, and that's what I like. You can see the difference between the girls and the guys when it comes to the fighting spirit, because the girls just kept fighting until the end, and then for them to make finals, like, look, it didn't bother me that we didn't win the final. It didn't bother me. I was still proud. I thought, what, girls, you've had this huge hurdle that you've had to go through, and then to make finals anyway is a bonus. Like, 2 years in a row to make finals, that's massive.
Yeah. And
that's massive.
Was that the final against Freo? Do I recall?
It was in Perth. Yeah, it was in Perth. I was going to go, but flights were just an arm and a leg, and I was like, nah, I've done too much travelling.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. That's really great. Anything else that you want to mention? Is there anything? I mean, I'll say follow you on Twitter at HockeyJade and say thank you for coming on.
That's all right.
Anything else you want to say?
I'll be going to training tomorrow, so I'll post more videos from training for tomorrow. So obviously, everyone that follows me, there'll be more videos to come for tomorrow from training.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's really great to
talk
to fans and get another insight onto the game. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Jade.
No worries. Thanks, Sam.